Hi, welcome. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look back at a previous M-Cave hike video done by Scott Natal, and it's to do with the Mineshaft, something within. You know, a few observations have been made over time and kind of in recent time as well, referring back to it, and I thought I'd show it to you and give my opinion on the matter. And it's actually regarding a barrel found in the Mineshaft, which what looks to be a bullet hole within it. Let me show you the footage right now.
Empty can. Pot. There's a bucket. Big barrel. It's empty.
So yeah, kind of interesting. From the looks of it, visually, it does look like a bullet hole. But before we get more into that, let's just have a little look at a screenshot, still photo of the barrel and the objects around it. Do a little comparison and analysis on it. Now, if we take a look at the first screenshot, you can see Scott Natal holding some kind of pan, which must have been used for mining way back in the past. From the looks of it, it does look discoloured, dusty, and just old in general, like it's aged. It makes sense due to where it's been found and what it was probably used for and when it dated back. Similar, we look at some other bits and bobs in the background. I think that could be another barrel, I might be wrong. And then there's some other like planks of wood or some kind of objects in front of it, which does have that greyish, dusty looking colour. And I guess in a way slightly rusty as well. And then if we compare that to the barrel itself, as you can see on the very right hand side of the screen, we just zoom in a little bit there, as you can see, that part of the barrel does look similar colouring to, I think, that barrel in the background. So with them sharing similarities in the aging of them, the coloration, or should I say decoloration, you can assume that this was all at a certain time, most likely mining, most likely way back in the past, before Kenny Veach was around. Now, I'm not discrediting the fact that it has any ties to do with Kenny Veach whatsoever. All I'm saying is the actual object dates back probably before Kenny was around, just like the supposed cave. So it's not the idea of Kenny Veach went out there, took a barrel with him, or someone else did for whatever reason, and then decided to start shooting at it, or ended up shooting oneself and then it ended up ricocheting or going right through ballistics into the barrel. What I'm saying is, Kenny may have gone on his supposed final hike, or someone did, and then stumbled across the barrel, and then whatever happened, happened. So that's all I'm saying. Now, let's take a look at the barrel itself, a close-up of the supposed bullet hole. Okay, so the video quality wasn't the best, so it was kind of difficult to get a clear screenshot of the barrel, but nevertheless, here is an example. As you can see from the looks of it, whether it's the bottom or the top of the barrel, there is a hole. That could explain two different reasons, depending if it's at the bottom or at the top, but I guess we can get into that later. The hole itself does look fairly clean, if you look at it, and it does look somewhat circular. If we move on to the second angle, it is a little bit clearer. And if you can see, there's a bit of white stuff. I believe that's like the shine of it, because of the way that I guess the metal's kind of bent inwards. And from the light above, I guess it's creating some kind of like reflection or something, the little glint, probably because the barrel's metallic of some sort, that's why it's rusted. You know what I'm saying? So that would make sense. So the earlier point I made about the height of the hole, is it at the top or bottom of the barrel? From this angle, you could argue it's at the base of the barrel because it looks filled in, as a barrel would do. But I can see almost like a hole on the side of it. Now, I don't know if that's one of those standard entry points of a barrel where you might insert some kind of pipe hose into it for whatever reason, or is it simply just a crack? It's cracked open. What could have caused it? Wear and tear? Old age? Or does it have any significance, any link to do so with that hole? If it was a bullet hole, maybe as it entered in, it didn't come out the other end and it bounced around, or it caused bits of shrapnel to fly about, and it ended up piercing the base of the barrel because it's on its side and damaged it, maybe. Another key detail to make note of, that hole in the barrel, due to the metal around it and the hole itself, it looks like it's going inwards. So whatever object or projectile is hitting the barrel, it's going in, but it's not coming back out. You know, kind of like with a blade, a knife, some kind of spear. If you jab into that barrel, when you pull it back out, most likely the blade, the object, will catch against the sides of the hole, pulling the metal outwards, ripping it out. So then you would know something has gone in and come back out. That's not the case in this picture. If it is a bullet hole, we would need to see, you know, the other side of the barrel, because what would have happened would the bullet would travel, hit the barrel at certain velocity, force, impact, speed, the lot. It would go in and most likely would come out the other end, the exit hole. We need to look at the exit hole, because if the metal is pushed outwards and you know a bullet's gone in, and as it's come out the other end, it's pushed out, causing the metal to push out as well. That's what you would expect. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get to see the other angle or the other side of the barrel, unfortunately. Now, the only other thing you could make note of is, depending the situation where the barrel was, what did the bullet hit beforehand? Because you can put the argument across, the bullet might have already hit something, ricocheted off something, or already passed through an object beforehand, and as it passed through, it lost its momentum, its force, its speed. So by the time it hit another object, which was the barrel, you know, the stopping force, it slowed it down heavily. So yes, it managed to go through it, but it couldn't come out the other end. It might have caused a bit of a dent on the exit point, and the bullet just dropped into the barrel. You know what I'm saying? Stopping power, stopping force, whatever you want to call it. I'm not an expert with guns or ballistic, but hopefully you can understand what I'm getting at. Like, if a gun was fired, a bullet hit a person in a situation like Kenny, could it have ricocheted off something after that, or directly gone into the barrel? It depends. Depends the angle, the height, and where Kenny was at the time, because we don't know if the barrel was outside of the mineshaft or within. Now, just to kind of tie on with that, Scott Natal did reply to one user called Snowwalker about the bullet hole, and this is what Scott had to say. He said, "Yes, some people like to shoot stuff. Or was it Kenny?" So Scott's response is a little vague, but from the first few words he says, he's basically getting at people may do target practice out there with their guns and weapons, testing stuff out, using objects. Now, I don't know if that's true because I'm not there, but for any hikers, people that have been out there at the time, did you ever hear any gunshots, explosion sounds? Did you ever come across any bullet casings within the area? Did you come across any kind of targets, any like a target range, any objects which may have had a few holes in? Let me know, or leave a comment down below, whatever, that could explain something. Me personally, from the footage we have seen and the material that's available online, through Kenny's footage in 2014, Jay Chuck's, Jay Silverheels, Jeff Claw's, it's always quiet, to be expected due to the area. And also, even the objects out there, what we've seen on camera, they don't hint at some kind of shooting range. There's nothing lined up or balanced on top of one another. I've not seen any of that, so it wouldn't hint towards that idea from what Scott Natal has said. So it could lean more towards it being caused by Kenny Veach himself, somehow. I mean, the only counterpoint you could put across is maybe it was way back in the past, there was people that went out there and did target practice of some sort, maybe. But in more recent time, very unlikely. So one last important point to make note of, and bear with me, okay, is we know Kenny Veach took his gun with him on his supposed final hike, as the gun was not found in his house. So he took it with him. But why? Well, he always has done previously, for protection. And no, if it's his final hike and he has issues, it could be for suicidal reasons. That would make sense. But if he's taking a camera with him, why does he need that? To document what he's going to do? To take pictures? No, because there'd be no use, no need. He wouldn't be returning back to show anyone. So it makes no sense. So if we're basing it off the idea he went out to take pictures for whatever reason, he took his gun with him for protection. Because his phone was found at the mineshaft, could you argue there was some kind of struggle? He was ambushed, attacked by someone, a group, or maybe an animal. There was some kind of struggle, tussle for survival, protection. Somehow his phone fell out his pocket. Either he tried reaching for it, grabbing it to call for help or for something, or it fell out. I don't know. His pocket was deep and it might have had a button on, so you'd have to physically reach in for that. But if he's got a gun with him and something jumps on him, approaches him, and he defends himself, fires that gun, does it ricochet off something and that's what causes it to hit the barrel? Now, we need to know where the barrel was at the time. Was it, out in the open? I don't think so, because in 2014, there was nothing on show outside of the mineshaft, so that would imply it's within. And I don't think anyone would go into the mineshaft and pull that barrel, that heavy barrel, potentially, out, because it's awkward weight, it's an awkward object to hold, and climb up the ladder with it. No. And I don't think Kenny would go inside the mineshaft either, because he said it was unstable from his point of view at the time. So if we're assuming the barrel is still within the mineshaft somehow, the bullet ricochets off something and causes it to go downwards and hits the barrel within. Those kind of ballistics seem kind of wacky, but maybe somehow it's possible. Like with the whole JFK assassination, how they were talking about the ballistics, the bullet drop, the projectile, the ricochets and stuff like that, how it hits one person and goes through, hits the other person at a dodgy angle. Could it apply here? I don't know. Maybe some gun experts or other people out there could leave a comment down below. But did it ricochet, hit something and cause the bullet to change in direction? Maybe. From other people's perspective, it was the situation of if he was to point the gun at himself at that spot, I don't think it would make as much sense, because he dies because of the action he's caused. Now his body would be found literally where it is near the mineshaft, and nothing is there. And supposedly from the searches done within, nothing was there either. So that wouldn't make any sense. So it leans more back towards the idea of a potential ambush, maybe some form of attack, self-defense. Whatever got him and caused the gun to be fired off, then maybe Kenny was kidnapped, taken away, maybe by military, maybe by people near Area 51, or he might have been hurt badly but was still taken away. That's why no remains were found and why the scent was lost at that spot, because that was his final stand, his final point before whatever happened. His phone remained there because it might have fallen out, or there was a bit of a tussle trying to get the phone out to help himself. And the bullet hole, potential bullet hole from the looks of it, might have been caused in the firefight, the self-defense, whatever you want to call it. Hopefully that isn't too confusing, but we can still put the argument across. It's not all suicidal, and it could be out of self-defense, and that's why that bullet hole was there somehow. And people have previously said about the phone being placed there either as some kind of marker or some last-ditch attempt at trying to be found in a way. Like if he's being ambushed or if people confronted him, intervened, he might have just secretly put his phone by the side and then put his hands up and then walked away and was escorted away, leaving his personal item behind as like some kind of clue. People have said that beforehand. So, it adds a completely different perspective, because we've not really done a ballistic report. We've not done a gunshot report, nothing like that. So this is a first. And I said, I'm not an expert. Yeah, I've played a few games. That means nothing at the end of the day, but it's just trying to understand this and give my opinion at the same time, okay? So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you've got a question, leave a comment down below, or if you've got something to say, feel free to leave a comment. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.